What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Hardcore Fab Shop. I'm Anthony Bronner, and today we're back to work on hookers and blow. In the last video, we got most of the back of this thing all done, put together, so I've been working on stuff up here in the front, and I started laying out all my wires and stuff and getting ready to figure out all of that, and I've got quite a mess of stuff up here. We got wires there, we got wires in there, we got wires here, got wires up there on the firewall. You guys got the idea there. I've got to get that all figured out and get that shoved into the cab, but I got to put all that on hold today because today my buddy Vern is coming and he's going to install all of our glass for us. So that's going to be pretty awesome. Can't wait to see that in there, so that's going to be really cool. Now, before he gets here though, I have to get some stuff done so it'll be prepped and ready for him to be able to install the glass. Now, one of the first things that I've got to get done is I've got to get these lights figured out up here. I've already went through and put new sockets and stuff in the cab lights up here up front, but our tail lights back here that are going to be on our roof, I've got to go through and kind of figure those out a little bit, and I've got to get those mounted because there's a panel that covers up the mounting spots. Oh, sorry. You can see the holes there. That's actually where that light mounts, and up here, and then there's a panel that goes from this bracket all the way down here to there. So I got to get that stuff mounted in there, and I need to get the last few little pieces of Dynamat in there, so that'll all be done. And then I want to put some of the Dyno liner over all of that in there so that we'll have a pretty nice insulated cab. So have to do all that because that panel goes over the top of all that stuff, and then the window rubber goes over the area around the window that actually mates up from that panel from the outside to the inside. Normally there'd be like a pinch weld there, but since this panel is removable, there's no pinch weld in that area. So I guess the rubber is the only thing that really kind of holds that panel in place. So that's going to need to be there before we can actually have the window rubber there. So I have to do all of this before Vern gets here. So I guess I need to set the camera down and get busy. So since I just brought it up, I want to show you guys these lights real quick. These are the original cab lights that were on the truck. So we took them all apart, we cleaned them up really pretty decent. Could have probably bead blasted them and everything, but I didn't know how much this edge is going to really show when it's all said and done. So kind of left it a little bit rustic looking, but the areas where the bolts are going to touch and the areas where like the socket goes through and everything, we cleaned that up really good so that we'll have good ground through there and all that for the new socket. Put the new socket in there. The new socket just kind of fits through there, and then it's got a piece on the end that you just kind of got to flare out a little bit. So I shoved a punch in there to begin with and just kind of got it started flaring out a little bit, and then I had a socket on this side of it right here that fit in there. I think 11 millimeter was the size that fit in there just perfect. And then after I got it kind of started flaring over, I just stuck the punch and just kind of went all the way around the lip of it there and just kind of rolled it all over. So that installed our new light socket, and I went ahead and tested all of them. All of them work really good. And then we put a 12-volt light bulb in there. Then, since this is an old original light and no one sells a gasket for it, we just took a piece of rubber, cut it to the same size, and I'm just going to lay that on the cab there. I need to pop some holes in it still yet, but then our cab will be sealed up, our light will be mounted, and we'll actually have a functioning light up there again. We're going to go ahead and take and put a little rubber piece inside here to have the glass kind of sandwiched against so that it's not sitting there rattling around anymore in the metal, because before it was just kind of rattling in the metal. So that'll help kind of seal all that up as well. And I think that's going to take care of our light situation for our front marker lights. Now for our pieces back here, they had a little different style. They had a thing in there that just a socket that kind of pushes in there. So we found some of these, and it's a Dorman 85825 if anybody cares, and it accepts a 1157 bulb, so it'll have our turn signal and our tail light in it. And I think we can make it work where it'll just push down right inside this housing. And then there again, we've got two wires coming off of it for our two separate power wires there, and we'll be grounding through the cab and through the light itself. So I need to go ahead and now figure out a way to get this mounted on there. I think it's going to be pretty simple. I'm not going to be able to put a piece of rubber in underneath this one because the design of it's just a little bit different. I'll go ahead and show you real quick. It's got one piece right here that kind of screws me, that kind of sticks, you know, up a little bit farther than the rest of the housing there, or down a little farther technically than the rest of the housing. So that kind of raises it up there, and there's not enough room. We're only looking at like maybe a 1/16 of an inch or so on the side. So there's really not enough room to put a piece of rubber there and try to hide that or whatever. I really don't care because honestly, I think the lights are cool enough that just having that little tiny bit of a gap right there is a pretty good trade-off for how cool the lights are. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go with it and probably put that on just basically kind of like that, and probably just put a little silicone around all the holes so that I don't have to worry about anything leaking there. So that's what I'm doing for my lighting scenario, and you guys have already seen me stick dynamite down, so I think in this video I'm going to end up posting you a bunch of links to a bunch of other videos so that I don't have to go back over and show a bunch of things. So I'll put you a link to the dynamite video, and that's what I'm going to end up doing here next, right after I mount these lights. Alright guys, I got the lights mounted, and I've got the rest of the Durham dyno liner in here. So that's all looking pretty good. We're ready to put that inside panel in there. And Vern is already here doing some glass. What's up, Vern?
How's it going, everybody?
So if you guys have been watching the channel very long at all, you remember Vern from an old Crow video where we did all the glass on there, and he actually did some glass cutting for us. I'll put you guys a link to those videos up here above so you guys can go back and see how to cut some glass. And I guess now we'll start putting some glass in on the windshield. We've got both new glasses urethaned in, and we went ahead and got our rubbers out from Steele Rubber Products, and we started installing them. That first piece to go on is the piece that Vern's working on right there. There's a chrome cover that goes over that piece of rubber, and I'd be quite honest with you, that was a total pain in the rear to get out. The rubber that's in there had to be the original stuff, and it was hard as a rock. So we did get it finally out, and we got the new in there, although probably could have figured out a way to do it a little better than what we did, so I'm not going to show you guys that. But anyhow, it's in there now, and it don't look too bad. So I think we're at the point now where we get the center section in there, and the windshield will be ready to go back into the truck. I got to find you the screws. So our next piece of rubber to go on, you see Vern doing, is the piece that goes around the whole outside of the window. Now, last night, Connor and I spent probably an hour and a half chipping the old piece of rubber out of there. It was terrible to get out. And we went ahead and got that out, and then got the framework all painted up here so it'd be ready for Vern today. And then, how's that pushing in? Is that working all right?
No, it's not too bad. Yeah. It's going to take some time, but we'll get her. No hour and a half to get it out.
Yeah, definitely way better going in than it was coming out. There's no question about that. And it looks like, of course, the Steele Rubber gasket is going to be just about the perfect amount of material there to fit and do nice. So, just we'll go to time lapse and watch this go on real quick.
Yeah, it's going to take a minute.
Alright, so with the windshield all put back together, then it was time to fix the window regulator. That's all working good now. It's all oiled up and ready to rock and roll. These hinges were covered in mouse piss and shit and were rusted clean up, but they are all free now, working good. So the windshield is ready to go back in now, but I screwed up. So I had Jeff paint the face of this right here so that we'd have a nicer, smoother seal spot for the rubber to actually go up against and hopefully keep the weather out a little bit more. And apparently that was not the right thing to do because the rubber doesn't actually cover all of that up. And since it doesn't cover it up, you see that and it just looks like crap, to be honest with you. So I think what I'm going to end up doing is taping this whole area off and just painting this one little tiny piece right here along the edge and paint it black, and that should blend into the rubber a lot better and not look nearly as out of place as what it does now with this. So guess can't put the windshield in at the moment, but everything is ready to go after I get that done. So there you go. So we got the back panel in there now, and Vern has got the rear window wrapped with our new rubbers here from Steele Rubber, and we're installing them incorrectly. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So the problem is that little piece there that he's putting in now is supposed to lock the window in when it's in place, and I've already got the cab bolted down, and we don't have a lot of room there with the headache rack to be able to put that piece in. So he is going to put it in now and try to work it into place with it already in position. So what do you think, Vern? Is this going to work good?
Wish me luck.
Wish you luck?
Yeah.
Put
it on mute, so there will be some cussing.
it
It'll be all right.
looks like right from like here to there. It's not in.
Okay.
Making me nervous.
There it went.
All right. Oh, heck yeah. Alrighty.
Door glasses on this thing are super easy. You got 4 screws on the regulator and it should just come right out. So these things have a little flat-headed screw in the corner. The other window had a flathead on both sides. This one has a flathead just on one side. So we're gonna see how that goes. So these are little pieces that are in the corners of the window. This one had an Allen in it, we figured out once we got all the dirt cleaned out, and then it's a flathead on the other side. And they were in these little holes right here on the ends of each window. So now we can just slide the whole bottom piece off the window, I believe, right, Vern?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Window comes apart like that, and the glass just slides out. Maybe. It's been in there for a day or two. And we're ready for our new windows. Waiting on me. Set this back in there. We got time. So Steele Rubber also sent us over some window scrapers, so that's pretty awesome, but I've got to get these out. And like all the rest of the rubber that's on this truck, I think is pretty much original, and it is hard as a rock. You go try to grab it and just pull on it a little bit, and it just breaks off into pieces, and is hard. You can't even move it. So you'd think that'd make it easier to get out, but it really doesn't, because now it's down in this little groove right here that it has to slip in and out of, and I'm going to have to probably just chisel it out like I did everything else. So I'll flash you guys back here in like 20-30 minutes after I get this all out. Alright, so I finally got it out of there. The new piece is shaped like this, and it just kind of has a spot there that it slides into, and then the little flap just hangs out there and scrapes the window. So stick a little WD-40 on here, and hopefully it'll just slide right back into place where the other one was. I did mangle up the lip here just a little bit trying to get this all out of here, but I think that was just part of what a guy's going to have to do to be able to get it out, as hard as that rubber was. When the rubber's harder and stiffer than the metal, it kind of puts you in a bad spot. So let's see here how bad this is. Alright, so that was a little bit more of a challenge than I was expecting it to be, but it's in there. Luckily, Steele Rubber sends you a little bit more than what you need for overall length, so I was able just to put some vice grips on there and just really pull on it really good. And as hard as I was pulling, I can't believe I didn't just tear it in half. I did mess up a little bit of the end of it a little there, but since they sent so much extra, I was able just to clip that off, and now we're good to go. The only thing that's really holding this in position from what I could see of the factory, you know, the way that it was from the factory, is they just kind of fold the end of it over here on the end of this little piece that it slips into, just kind of fold it over onto itself. So I'm just going to take a big long punch and reach up in there and just kind of fold the corner of it over. And it looks like that just pinches it in there and you're good to go at that point. So do that on this side too, and I think that part will be done. I can put the window in. So Steele Rubber also sent us over some new run channel for our windows to slide into, and it goes in pretty simple. I like to give it just a little bit of general shape like you've seen there, and then it usually just clips right into place. Don't really clip, just kind of presses right into place. That's probably a better word to say. There's a little finger at the bottom that it catches on, and little fingers up in here that it kind of catches on, and there you go. wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the tinted glass in this thing, but honestly, it looks pretty badass sitting here checking it out. So I'm super excited about that now. I did not talk to you guys about the glass and where I got it from yet. I did get it off of eBay, and I will leave you guys a link to it down below in the description. There's a company, I think it's Bob's Auto Classics, or no, Bob's Classic Auto Glass, that's what it is. And I did buy it, I'm not a sponsor, but good quality products. He was able to ship it to Kansas without it breaking from, I think, Oregon or something like that, so that's kind of impressive. So I would be interested in working with him in the future on other projects if he was interested. So, but yeah, I will link you guys a link in the description below to that because it was good products. And speaking of good products, we've also got Steele Rubber rubbers in the whole entire truck. Everywhere where we've got rubber stuff, we've got Steele Rubber. So they helped us out with all that because they are an official sponsor. So keep that in mind, guys. If you guys are looking for some glass and stuff, they're willing to help me out and help give you guys good content. So if you're needing some pieces and parts for your vehicles that you're building, check out Steele Rubber Products because they've got a good quality part and they've got a huge lineup of different pieces that'll fit many, many makes and models. So big shout out to them for helping us out on this deal because we couldn't have done it without them. And also a big shout out to Vern because he's got many years of knowledge for doing all this kind of glass work and stuff. And I might have been able to get some of the pieces and parts in, but I definitely would not have been able to get like the back glass in there. If you guys seen how much he was fighting with that thing and all of that, I was pretty nervous. He always makes me nervous when he's installing some of that glass like that because he'll beat and bang and pull and pry on that stuff, and I just keep thinking it's gonna break, but with all of his knowledge, it never does. So that's pretty awesome, and I'm sure it would have broke if I was trying to install it. I would have been trying to install it the right way with the little lace thing on the back and been fighting it for days. So big shout out for him coming over and helping out with that. That's huge. And I guess you guys are probably now obviously seeing that. So I guess I need to get back to work because I want that thing running on our next video.